Welcome to the Unscripted podcast.
Thank you.
I have a very, very special guest with me. Somebody who I actually lived with for about a year, right?
Almost a year, yeah.
Almost a year. I lived with you and Larry. You guys took in a homeless man and turned him into Jazz. Jazz P. Well, I have the honor. You told me before the podcast started that this is your first ever podcast.
It is.
I'm kind of shocked that you would trust me.
I mean, if anybody were to do it, Joel, it'd be you.
So what kind of makes you a little bit nervous about going on a podcast?
I think it's just because you never really know what direction it can go. It's like, are they trying to actually get to know you, or are they trying to get messy?
Yeah.
And I'm not really for that.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, not that anything's messy, but
I'm about to say, you live a pretty unproblematic life.
Don't reach, though, or try and twist words, because things could get clipped.
Yeah.
And I don't care for that.
So one thing I'm really excited to talk with you about, because obviously my first episode was Larry, and you were in the room when you got engaged. Congratulations. You are a fiance.
I am.
You got the ring. You got the ring on?
I do. Always.
So obviously, congratulations.
Thank you.
But you were in the podcast when I filmed the first episode, the second episode, and the third episode, which is the one that everybody saw.
Yes.
But you will be the only other person in the world that heard that first episode. And
it's a shame that it wasn't heard, honestly. It was a really good one.
I think that was my most natural episode. And the fact that it was my first one. And I think the problem I had with doing the next episodes after filming that first one was trying to come up with fresh questions for Larry, because I didn't want to bore him and have him repeat the same thing over and over. Because the first one, we got into so much good things. And it's a shame that nobody got to see it. But they still got a really good episode.
Yeah, for sure.
But in that first episode, I got the ability to ask a question. Nobody will ever be able to hear it, but now I get to ask you the question.
Ooh, what's the question?
And they'll definitely hear this one. So, before we get into pre-Larry, pre-Zaza,
yes.
How did you meet Larry, or how did all this come about? How did the Larry and Sachi saga begin?
Man. Well, we both were living in California at the time. I had just moved with my parents, and I was working a regular 9-to-5 job. And I just did TikToks kind of for fun. Mm-hmm. And I guess I came up on his For You page, which was so random because I had been following Larry, I want to say since COVID. Yeah. Which was very ironic because we were both in different, very different places in our life.
Yeah.
He was in another relationship. I was too. I only knew of him because one of my best friends named Natalia would send me his videos because of Emily. Oh. And so that's why I followed him.
Zay's little sister.
Yes.
Yeah.
Bubba Queen. But then he reached out to me and he was like, "Oh, I'm trying to be your friend." And I was like, at that time, I was like, I ain't getting no relationships. I don't want no man. Yeah. Nothing. And I was like, yeah, we could be friends. Then he came on a little too strong the next day, on Snapchat. He's like, "You're so beautiful. You're the most beautiful." I was like,
oh, friends don't talk like this.
Friends definitely don't. You're not a homeboy. You're not, no. Yeah. And so I left him on red. Oh. I did. It was just a turn off to me. I was like, oh, you're just trying to get at me, and I didn't care for that. Yeah. And especially since I knew his numbers at that time, I was like, oh, you probably think you can get any girl you want. Yeah. So I was like, nah, I'm good. He felt some type of way though. He unfollowed me off of everything. And then I was like, okay, well, I'm not a fan. So I unfollowed him too. But
how long did it take for you to notice that he unfollowed you?
I want to say maybe 2 or 3 days, because once I checked to be let me see if he did try and reach back out. I saw that we weren't friends anymore. It was a follow back. I was like, oh, okay, got you. Yeah, but he did spin the block. I want to say 2 months later, and then yeah.
Let's get into that. So obviously you gave him, I wouldn't even want to say a friend zone. You really just zoned him out completely.
Yeah.
What made you open to not only following him again, but just having a simple conversation with him again?
I think it was just like he did come back at a better approach. He was just like, okay, like I did understand, like I did come on too strong. I'm serious. Like I do just want to meet you and like get to know you. And I was like, okay, but that's it. Like don't think anything more is happening from that. And he was like, no, like I am respectful. I was like, okay, whatever. But yeah, once he like came back, I think it was a story post. I think he briefly had mentioned that in your last podcast too, was that I was looking like sad. And I was at the time, I'm not gonna lie, I was going through some stuff. But he was just like, oh, like I understand what you're going through, like just kind of like relating to me. And I was just like, okay, this is a friend talk. Like this is an open discussion. So that's kind of what got him through in the door. Yeah.
So okay, so you guys start having. How long did it go from we're just having friend conversations to let's go hang out or whatever? Or tell us.
It didn't take long, which is what's so funny because people assume we've been together for like 10 years. But I want to say like a week after just like consistently texting, I finally was able to like have a day off of work and I saw him on my day off. Mm-hmm. And he knew that was a big deal because first things first, if I have a day off, I'm not spending it with nobody. I'm having me time. So I did, and then I had another day off and I saw him on my next day off, and then after that we hung out every single day. Yeah, and that was it.
So it happened pretty quick.
Yeah, I think we were boyfriend and girlfriend after a week and a half.
No way. I didn't know that. He never said that. I just assumed like it was like after a couple months.
No, because it was December 26th was the first time we ever hung out. January 10th I became his girlfriend.
Damn, that was no time at all.
Nope.
So you have a very interesting side of Larry that nobody else has. You know, you get to see, I mean, Larry is a loving person. He loves on everybody hard. But obviously he loves you a little bit differently than he would love his friends.
I would hope so.
So, and I don't want to make this about Larry. I want to make this about you, but I feel like we have to kind of talk about him a little bit just to get into it. So what made you attracted to him in that time period in your life? Like what were some qualities or traits that he had that made you go, you know what, like I actually do like this guy?
Oh, so he knows this, but one of the biggest things for me was how family oriented he was. Because I didn't have that really growing up, and I always said like the next man that I ever get with, like I need him to have a great relationship with his mom, with his family in general, and then we had the same age gap with our siblings, 10 and 13 years.
I never knew that. Yeah. Oh,
yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
And so, and he had a stepdad. I have a stepdad. Like it was just all kind of weird how our situation was similar but very different in the dynamics and aspect. But it was just, he took care of his sister so well. Like I saw how he was so respectful to his mom, the women in his life. Yeah. But then also like the respect that he had for his dad. Yeah. Not just Roni, but also even his biological father, which that's also another thing too, because I have my biological father and I have my stepdad, but they can't be in the same room together.
Gotcha.
But they're like genuinely close. So I think just seeing how he was as a family man, I was like, I could see him being like the father of my kids. I was like, he's gonna be a great dad. Eventually, you know, when that time came.
And it came.
So that was one of the main things that made me fall for him, but also just how big of a heart he had. And I think at the time that I met him, he was trying really hard not to show that he was kind of a big teddy bear. Like, oh, I'm hard. Like, oh, I don't care about nothing. Yeah. But I knew that he really did. And he's kind of like started getting soft with me and showing me that. And that meant more to me than just trying to be like a guy and putting his ego and pride and stuff in the way.
Yeah, because he got millions of followers and he could just get whatever he wants.
He could if he wanted to, but he was not like that. Like you see all these other social media guys, it's just not the same.
Yeah, you know? We love that. Well, I think a lot of people know who you are. Obviously, millions of people know who you are at this point. Whether they know you, so weird. Whether they know you as Sachi or Zaza's mom.
Yeah, that's true.
Either one of the two.
More so Zaza's mom now.
But I feel like a lot of people want to get to know who the pre-Larry and Zaza era Sachi is, because you kind of, I'm not sure, because even then I've only known you as pregnant.
That's so true.
So for the audience, obviously I've lived with them, but for the most part, I've known Sachi more pregnant than I've known her non-pregnant. And it's like a little joke that we have, but
it's so true.
It is true though.
And then I got pregnant again.
Yeah. And then she got pregnant again. So I don't know. I may only know pregnant Sachi.
That's true.
So even though we've lived together, I still don't know a ton about Sachi before Larry and them. So this is me genuinely asking you questions, not from like, oh, just from a podcast standpoint. This is me genuinely asking, you know, who you were before all this happened. So I'll just tell you the things I do know, and then we'll fill in the gaps from there.
All right.
One thing I do know that me and you share is we both worked at Chick-fil-A.
Yes, we did.
I think me and you had a little bit different of experience. I loved working at Chick-fil-A.
Yeah, it was my first job, but I think it does matter what location you're at. I'll give that. So I just don't think that was my love, my passion. But I mean, I was like 2.5 years of my life.
Yeah. Well, I do know that you moved around a lot as a kid.
Yes.
Now, I kind of want to just hear, like, how did that impact you growing up? Like, did it help you, you know, become more outgoing, being able to, you know, be in certain scenarios and adapt? Or was it kind of like, I can't settle in? Like, how was your experience with that?
I would say a little bit of both, from what you said, as far as like not being able to settle in, but I do feel like there was pros and cons to everything. Me moving around, I got to meet a lot of different people, a lot of different environments, and I feel like it allowed me to adapt very easily. And it did allow me to become very social. So I do think me being outgoing and kind of a social butterfly does come from that for sure, because I had to make my own friends.
Right.
Every 3 years I was moving as a military.
Crazy.
It was because military.
Yeah.
But at that same time, like I had not been in a place for more than 3 years. So now being in Arizona for 3 years, and then even before when I was in Florida for almost 4 years, it was like I was itching to like, where else should I go?
Yeah, where do I go here?
I'm not I wasn't comfortable just having a home, but now I am.
Yeah.
So.
Well, yeah, you're locked in. You have kids now.
I'm here. I can't go nowhere.
So where were some of the places that you moved to?
So I was born in Florida, and then I lived in El Paso, Texas. And then I lived in Hawaii and Oahu. I then lived in Washington State, and then I lived in Georgia, and then I lived in Germany.
Oh shoot!
For a year.
Yeah. And then Arizona.
And then Arizona. Oh, California, and then Arizona.
California. When did you move to California?
So after I was in Germany, because my parents were stationed there for 3 years, I was in Florida already living on my own at that time. So I just kind of went there to visit, but I was in a not great place at the time.
Gotcha.
So I just kind of asked my mom, like, do you mind if I just stay and I just travel? Because when am I going to get this opportunity again? And she was like, yeah. So I stayed with them for a year. Once their year was up, they moved to Cali. Yeah. And then that's where I met Larry. And then I came to Arizona because of Larry.
Yeah. So what would you say your favorite place to live was?
Ooh, that's so hard. I loved Europe. I'm not going to lie. Germany was great. I think just because, I don't know, it's just different.
What makes it so different from American living?
Everything. It's safer. It's safer. There's like, obviously the food is different, but it is good quality food. Yeah. Like I feel like you're actually enjoying what you're eating, but you also feel like healthier. Yeah. You just see kids like everywhere. Like they're so kid friendly as far as like parks everywhere. Kids going on public transportation. Yeah. It's just like a different world. You're like, whoa, they would never in the States. Like once it's night out, back inside.
Back inside, yeah.
But yeah, it's just, I love the environment. I love meeting new cultures and trying new things. It was just a different experience.
If the opportunity came up, would you pack up and go?
To like move?
Yeah. Let's say Zaza's older, he's in high school, or he's going to college, he has a full ride scholarship, he's gonna live on campus.
I don't know. I mean, if Larry was down, I would definitely be down. At least to just try it. Yeah. But I don't know if Larry's there yet as far as Europe living. Yeah. But yeah, no, I mean, I would do it. I think just for the experience. Like, when are you ever gonna do that again? When can you say that? And then also to travel like with your kids.
Yeah.
Come on.
I could tell you, Me and Larry were struggling out there.
I know you guys
It was
were.
beautiful. We had a great time. But the food, me and Larry are definitely Americans when it comes to eating. And we would eat our food and we'd be so sad. We were like, that's it? The food was amazing.
They just inhaled it.
Yeah, it was just the portions were smaller and like it just felt healthier, which
nothing wrong with that though.
Usually when you go on vacation, like you gain weight and you're like, oh, I need to get back to the gym. We went out there and we were like, we lost weight. But the food was amazing.
And you're walking everywhere too. So I think that's just like a different thing.
Yeah, that is true. Well, kind of talking about Europe since we're already on the topic. How was Mykonos for you?
I loved it.
I know that was your dream location. Was it everything you?
Yeah, I mean, we did a tour, and I feel like we got to see the whole island that day.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a 4-hour tour. It's a lot you can do in 4 hours, but it was so beautiful, and the weather was great. And the people were super nice. We didn't have any bad encounters, except for you.
Yeah, I had a couple encounters. I almost got pickpocketed. Some other stuff happened.
She got hit on.
I got hit on by
a man,
somebody on the other team, and I didn't. Yeah, it was crazy. But you didn't even know I was out there. Did you have any clue that you were going? Okay, this is a twofold question.
Okay.
The first question is, did you have any clue that you were going to get proposed to? And then 2, did you have any clue that I was out there?
So there was 2 instances, and this is for both those questions.
Okay.
That something had came up, but I was just so like, I don't want to know if it is.
Oh, okay.
So I just let it go. I didn't keep asking. I didn't want to know. So basically, Larry, like, when you have a camera or when you, sorry, let me rephrase that. When you give your phone to like take a picture, and there's like the little square of your last picture.
Oh, yeah.
On the bottom screen. Mm-hmm. So Larry asked me to take a picture of something, and the last image on his screen was a ring.
I didn't even know that.
And it was my other ring that I had. That was my dream ring.
Uh-huh.
And I was just like, And I just gave the phone back, and I was like, I don't want to know. So, because at that point, I'm like, okay, I think he's going to propose, but I don't know when. Which, that's one thing I didn't know. I did not know when. I didn't think it was going to be on this trip. I thought maybe it was going to be like our 3-year anniversary.
Yeah.
So that's the answer to the first one. And then the second was he had a slip up in regards to you, because he was saying like, oh, we have to film YouTube videos for you to edit. And I was just like, oh, okay, no worries. He's like, yeah, it gives Joel some work to do on the plane. I was like, the plane?
Yeah.
And then he was like, did I say plane? I meant drive. And I was like, okay. I was like, whatever, I'm not tripping.
Yeah.
So I just let it be. But again, I was just like, I didn't think you were in Greece for sure, because I know you don't even like flying.
Yeah.
So I was like, whatever. He's probably just actually going somewhere, and whatever. I don't know. Been to Lulu.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, go ahead.
I told Larry, I was like, that's how you know I really love you guys, because I told him when he first asked me, hey, do you have a passport? I was like, no, I don't have a passport. What do I need a passport for? Yeah, like, I'm not going nowhere. I love America. I'm staying here. And then he was like, oh, okay, no worries. And I was like, well, why? And he said, well, I'm proposing, and I would need you to film. And I was like,
you got me.
You gotta be kidding me. Because literally, I told him, if it was another baby reveal, I would have been like, I'm sorry, there's probably videographers out there. You're good. But when he told me what it was for, I was like,
it's only once in a lifetime.
Yeah, once in a lifetime. So it
better be.
Yeah. So then I conquered the fear. I went out there. But yeah, I'm happy that you got surprised, and I'm happy that it all turned out really well for you. Was it the dream proposal that you remembered as a kid, or?
I feel like I didn't even have a dream proposal, because I kind of touched on it when we did our video. Like, I just really never thought that part of my life would kind of come. I know that sounds like really sad.
Yeah.
But it was just, I didn't have the like, oh, this is my dream wedding, this is my dream dress. I just kind of thought like, maybe marriage just isn't in my cards because of how I grew up.
Yeah.
And so I was just like, oh, whatever happens, it happens. Yeah. If it happens. So like the way that it happened, it was just so much more like, oh my gosh. Why I was so shocked in the moment, because I was like, this is really happening. Like, I'm gonna be a wife.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it was everything that I could have ever wanted, but not even like for my younger self. I think it was just more like I would have hugged her kind of thing.
It was funny because I know you're saying that you were shocked. I know that you were shocked because I was in the room, and obviously when I edit the video, I make it look like, oh yeah, she did it. She handled it perfectly. But peeling back the curtain a little bit, she was shocked.
I couldn't even talk. I feel like I blacked out.
Yeah, like at some point, like I was like directing them like, hey, you guys should kiss now. Like you guys should do this. So she was genuinely shocked, and I think it made it even more real moment. And I think one of the realest moments was afterwards when you guys did film the YouTube video. A little plug for their channel. Go watch the video. I edited it. When I was editing the video out there, I'm not like a super emotional guy. I'm very machismo in that sense.
Yeah.
But when I was editing your video, I never actually heard what you and Larry said to the camera, kind of like just talking through your first emotions after it happened. And you had a specific part in there that got me, and it made me tear up. And I don't tear up. Like, that got me good. And I think it's because, you put the little piano music behind it, all that. I'm
now
like,
you're all smoothie.
Yeah. But you said something, you were like, the little girl in me. And like, you just started choking up, and I was like, oh, the little girl in her, this is going to kill me.
I feel like it's just so true, though. Like, I don't know. Not that I had like a rough upbringing. It's just in the sense of like not having male figures really in my life as present. And it was just more so like, dang, I don't feel like I have that. Like, when people are saying like, oh, I look up to my dad as like, that's your first love.
Yeah.
Which I do believe my biological father is my first love. Like, I love him more than anything, but we just didn't have that relationship kind of growing up. Now we're better, now that we're older. But it's just more so like, dang, like I went through so much stuff that I probably didn't even have to go through just because I was being young and thinking love was just everything. Yeah. And then I'm like, now I found the love of my life and I'm here. Like, this is insane.
Yeah. Well, with the love of your life, you also garnished an audience.
Yeah, I did.
So obviously you didn't ask for that. You wanted a genuine relationship. But it is a package deal.
It is.
So was that something that, social media, was that something that you wanted as a kid beforehand, or was it kind of like, oh, that wouldn't be me? And then follow-up question after that. Now, how is it dealing with an audience and a large amount of people just solely invested into your guys' family life?
So to answer the first question, I don't think I really ever saw myself doing this. Like 100% being honest. I know when I was younger, I loved music and I was in choir and I performed and I did all that. And I could always say like, oh, I wanted to be a professional singer. But that's probably as far as that went. Yeah. Being on social media, doing TikTok, doing this is like a living. If you would have told me that years ago, I'd be like, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
No, not at all. But I do say like, being in this environment, it has just shown me like what a blessing it is, just because you do have that flexibility. You do have, I'm able to be home with my son. You know, I'm able to be home with Larry. Like I really can't complain.
Yeah.
But it is a little hard to navigate as far as like, I look at myself as a regular person.
Yeah.
Me and Larry are both, we're very humble people, but also like we have great friends in that aspect too that are very similar in that way, that they don't look at themselves as better than anyone.
Yeah.
So when we get approached, it's like, oh,
you know me?
You know me? Like, how do you know me? I'm like, oh yeah, I do social media. I forget about that. But it is great to like see or talk to like people and they're like, oh, like your videos make my day. Like, I just was at the Chris Brown concert and I had a girl come up to me and she's like, hey, I just want to talk to you for my best friend. She's a new mom. And like, I just want to tell you that your videos help her so much. And like, I started crying. I was like, dang, like you don't think like your videos do impact like that. And I think it's just cool to see like how it really does help other people or just get a laugh out of them throughout the day. So, it is cool.
I think a lot of people before Zaza comes, we'll get to him because he's a whole
he's a whole other can of worms.
He's a whole other can of worms. Before Zaza came, I think a lot of girls can relate to you because it's something like you just said right now. You feel like you're a regular girl. Typically, girls in the social media space kind of do very similar things, you know, and no knock on that. Yeah. Like they're kind of just like, how can I get the best looking selfies, or like, come get ready with me as I do this, you know, and that is good content and there's a place for it.
And trust me, I try.
Yeah.
I try.
Yeah. But I think a credit to you is you've been able to do those things and show that you can be a regular person at the same time and be funny, which is hard. You're kind of hitting every single aspect. So obviously now that you do social media, how do you balance trying to be a mother, trying to do content, trying to be now a fiance?
Yeah.
How do you handle it on a day-to-day basis?
That's all I could do is day by day. On an honest, like, serious sense. Like, it is not easy, but going back, you know, I feel like it does always come back to Larry. Like, if I wasn't blessed with such a great partner, it'd probably be a lot harder to balance. Yeah. And like, obviously he helps me with Zaza. He's able to be like, hey, like, you need to be on top of your content. So like, he does give me that extra push that I need, because if it wasn't for him, I probably would be like, okay, well, if I'm not motivated,
I'm done.
I'm not doing it. Guess what? Nobody's getting a video today. But no, I mean, it has its days where I'm just like, oh yeah, I'm ready to get this done. I just want to like push this out because I've been telling people I'm doing this. And then there's other days where I'm like, I don't want to be on my phone. My social battery is so drained because I'm just so, you know, 100% being a mom. And then you're also worried about being 100% committed to like your partner and like doing the house duties and doing what you can. But it's hard to balance. It is. Yeah. And I feel like that's the side that nobody really talks about. You just see the girls that are like doing it. I'm like, I'm gonna do that too. I'm like, I'm really trying.
Yeah. And I think that's why I kind of wanted to talk about it too, because like you said, nobody does talk about it. And I know there's going to be people watching, a lot of girls are going to be watching this and they're going to say, well, how does she do it? Because they, whether you think this or not, a lot of people look at you as like a superhero now. Like you're a role model to a lot of people. And that's why I got you at the Chris Brown concert, because maybe you don't think about it on a daily basis, but now you carry this, I don't want to call it a burden. You more so just carry this role that you are a role model for a lot of young girls out there now. So you kind of are, you know, there's a lot of eyes on you.
It's true. It's crazy. Like, I don't think about it. And I think that's why, because I say like, oh, I'm just a regular person. Like, I'm just posting my stuff. But a lot of people relate to what I go through, or like, even when I did my birth story, I feel like that was one of my biggest ones. I was like, share yours. And I got so many different birth stories. And it was just like, women are so strong. Yeah. Like, we're all superheroes at the end of the day. Like, if, like, that, it's just insane. Like, everything was so different. And I was like, I'm not the only one, you know, and postpartum, like, that's something not to be alone with either.
I hear this thing from a lot of people who aren't parents saying that your life is over, and I don't necessarily believe that's true, but I just kind of wanted to hear your take on that specific saying.
I completely disagree with that. I obviously, to each their own. For my personal experience, I would just say that I don't think it does do that. I feel like it makes your life better. I mean, if you're trying to compare it to the person that you were prior to having a baby, maybe you will feel that because you're like, dang, like I miss the old her. But when you have a baby and they're just relying on you 100% of the day and they're looking to you for guidance, it's just this like, I don't even know how to explain it. It's just this new world that you touch base on. And it's like, you're okay, I'm closing this old chapter, which isn't bad, but now I'm writing this whole new beginning. Yeah. And I think that's just what's the blessing and the beauty of it. Because okay, Larry, you know, like Larry and I had our stages, relationship, now family, but like this is what we wanted. Yeah. So I mean, there's gonna be hard days, there's gonna be bad days, great days, but that's with the territory. That's with anything.
I heard there's like this thing where you experience, because obviously you experience life before you have kids, like my first time going to Disneyland.
Oh yeah.
And I heard when you have a kid, it's like you're experiencing all those things again.
Oh, it's so amazing because we just took him to Disneyland, and I'm not gonna lie, I got emotional.
Yeah?
I did, yeah, because it's just like Disney already is a very nostalgic place. You know, it's like this brings out the inner kid. You know, you hear that from any parent. But now seeing your kid going to that same thing and just like seeing what fascinates them and what's entertaining them, it's just like, wow, like you're healing a part of yourself that you didn't even realize that you had for yourself. But then also, like, for example, Zaza's favorite movie is Coco. Okay? Loves that. We saw Miguel. The actual cartoon. I wasn't able to record it, unfortunately, because it was like while they were walking. But that was the first character he saw before he saw Goofy. And that's his favorite character. And he had the biggest smile on his face. And I was like, okay, wrap it up. I was like, this is crazy. I was like, no way, he just saw his favorite character. And I was more worried that he was going to get scared. Yeah. But he was just like in awe. And me and Larry were like, this is perfect. Like, I love this. And all we kept talking about too at the park was we can't wait till both of our boys are here and they can experience that together.
Yeah. I always forget that you have another one on the way.
Yeah. 2 months.
How would you
sounds crazy.
How would you explain the difference between the first pregnancy to this pregnancy? Because I asked Larry this question, and after I asked it, I was like, that's kind of a dumb question. Like, for him, he's like, oh, it's about the same.
He just deals with my hormones and my emotions, so he can only compare that. But as far as the feeling itself, like, I can honestly say Zaza's pregnancy was a breeze in comparison to this one. At least just like first trimester. Zaza really didn't give me any problems. Like, I was able to do everything. I didn't feel like nauseous, maybe for like a week. And then heartburn, like my last trimester. That's probably all I had with him. Now this one, yeah, I was super nauseous. I wasn't feeling good. Super tired. I've had the worst sciatica of my life, which is like when your back nerve gets pinched. So I actually start my chiropractor tomorrow.
Oh, nice.
And yeah, I have to just watch what I eat because my heartburn started a lot earlier this time around. So I have Tums on deck.
Oh, that's rough.
Yeah.
What about cravings? Are the cravings the same?
They're roughly the same. Like, well, I like more chicken, like more protein with this pregnancy. With Zaza, I couldn't really stand like chicken or the smell of it. Just burgers. I wanted burgers in and out all the time.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I feel like boys are just, you kind of crave the same things, but I don't know. Maybe when I have a girl, I'll be like, oh, it's completely different.
Speaking of that, obviously kids are a blessing.
Yes.
No matter what. But do you secretly want a girl as after this as well?
I would love a girl. I think I'm a little more worried for a girl just because, one, I know she's going to have Larry wrapped. He is so meant to have girls. Like, not that he's not meant to have boys. Yeah. He's just always said, like, I'm meant to be a girl dad. And I've seen it with, you know, Zay's sister, his cousins. Like, girls just gravitate towards him. But I've always gotten told I was going to be a boy mom. So for him, I would love to have a girl. And I know he wants a little me, but I'm like, I always hear, once you have a girl, you're going to get humbled. And I know she might have my attitude. And Lord, yeah, I'm not ready for that. But
the Puerto Rican side.
Yeah, because I mean, all our kids are super mixed. We got Mexican, Puerto Rican, Nicaraguan, Black.
Yeah, you guys got almost the entire rainbow.
Yeah, it's a lot of personality for sure. Well, even just Zaza, he has so much personality.
I love him. He's like the cutest baby, and like I just love. I mean, okay, when you follow you guys, all of a sudden your algorithm just gets hacked, and it's like all you can see is your guys' videos. But whenever I see a Zaza video, it just like brightens up my day. And I think a lot of people feel that way as well. Like everybody now, I see a lot of memes like they're like, oh, my internet nephew. Internet nephew. And I think that makes a lot of people, you know, gravitate towards him, and they see him and they love him. They see him as a nephew. But with that,
I already knew where this was going.
You know, with that comfortability, when people do meet you in person, and for the most part, it's all positive stuff like that.
No,
but
for sure.
I'm sure there's been instances where people might have gotten a little too friendly. I kind of just wanted to give you like the floor on that and like what your personal thoughts on people just what's the right way to approach the situation when it comes to handling babies that aren't in your family.
I think it's a lot of moms relate to where I'm coming from, but there are some that are like, oh, it's not a big deal. But I do think in the sense that they don't know him personally, and I love that they feel like they have this attachment to him. It's like, say hi, but like with respect, like still acknowledge us as his parents and understand that we're parents, or I'm a mom, and sickness is real, energy is real. I trust all that. Like I really do. And you know, with babies, you never know. Like their immune systems are so tiny. So I think just asking us first is always the first thing. Like we went to Disney, like I just said, and I had a lot of people be like, oh, I know you don't like your baby being touched. I just wanted to say hi. Like that's super respectful. Yeah. And I feel like that's just common sense. Yeah. But common sense isn't common. So common. I just feel like that's a good way to go about it. Or like, hey, can I just like see your baby? Or can I say hi to him? Not a problem. He's a very friendly baby. He's going to wave hi back. He's going to smile at you. Like, that's just how he is. But I think for my comfort, my peace of mind, I just don't like when people try and grab him from me. That's just like my biggest no.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because what made you think that you could do that?
I think it's like you said, common sense is not common nowadays. But yeah, we'll steer away from that now because that's a whole different conversation. So, what are some things that you learned from this first pregnancy and handling Zaza that you now know better heading into this second pregnancy? I know that's kind of a very broad question.
But I get it.
Yeah.
I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
I think when I was pregnant with Zaza, being a first-time mom, I was over researching everything. I was like all the essentials that I need to have on my registry, all the things that I should know for baby hacks, tips, all this stuff. And realistically, I didn't use a lot of them, which is something I will be talking about on my own series. Ooh. But I think that's just what I will bring in with a grain of salt going into this one, because it's really what gives you peace of mind. And I feel like when you try and take so much advice from so many different moms and different women, you have to realize like that was their experience, that's not yours, and what may have worked for them does not work for you, right, or vice versa. And so I think that's just all I could do. I'm just trying my best, doing what I can, and also knowing my baby, because it really comes down to what's their comfort, what's their personality. Zaza may like this, but this one's not gonna like this one. So it's just that, like, I feel like, you know, when you're doing a good job, you're just being present, you're doing what you need to do.
Yeah. When you kind of talked about it right now. Sorry, I don't know why I said when. You just said that you're going to be starting a series. Mm-hmm. Can you give us a little bit of insight of what you're going to be starting?
So I briefly already started it. It's just, this has been a crazy 2 months. Yeah. It's called Mom Life with Sachi. I'm posting on both TikTok and Instagram. And it's really just that. My mom life, what I do as far as like a day-to-day or a vlog, or I am doing the Q&A series that a lot of people have been asking about just in regards to this pregnancy, past pregnancy, postpartum, everything having to do with basically mom life. Yeah. But I'm not sugarcoating it. So I think that's what could get good or bad for me.
Yeah.
I don't really care though, just because it's my truth.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of people relate to it too, so.
What are some things that because that sounds like one of the things that you're passionate about. What are some things that you are passionate about in terms of, you know, that you feel like not enough light is shed on a certain topic? Do you have anything like that in your life where you feel like, you know, not enough people are talking about this, and I think we all should be talking about this. Do you have anything like that in your life?
In regards to like mom life or just in general?
In general. It could be mom life or in general.
I think I'll separate the two. So for mom life, I do think postpartum doesn't get talked about a lot. Like it gets talked about, but more so just the depression side of it. And I think, because I will be talking about it in my series, that there's a lot of things that go into that maybe you don't even realize you're going through that's considered postpartum. And it's just a whole different world, because I feel like it's only you're going through it or you're fine is kind of what you see on social media. But there's a lot more that goes into that. So I think that's one thing that doesn't get talked about. Also, same thing with the mom world, like breastfeeding. There's a lot of stuff that doesn't get talked about within that, but I'll let that talk for itself. And then I think just in general, just because it's kind of our world now, social media. Just because you see our life on social media, we're not showing you our whole life.
Yeah.
And I don't feel like people know how to differentiate that. Like, we're just showing you what we want to show you. And for you to kind of like judge us or like base us off of that, I think is kind of crazy.
Yeah.
But, you know, they say social media isn't real. And as much as we're trying to be real on social media, it's like y'all are only seeing our lives through a lens.
Yeah.
So I think that's just probably what I'll touch on.
Let's talk about it a little bit. Obviously, I don't want to take away your content because that's your content.
No, it's okay.
But me and you have had, we live together, so we've had a lot of personal conversations that the internet will never see. Mm-hmm. But I think that is something that me and you both relate on. A lot of people, and we won't say who, but I think me and you both know, a lot of people feel that what is on social media, it's like you said, mm-hmm. is 100% the hard truth and what it is, which is not. Mm-hmm. So how do you deal with the comments, especially you being the mother, you know, I don't even want it to make it just about motherhood, just being in a relationship.
In general?
Just in comments? General. Yeah, just comments in general. How do you deal with them trying to just tell you, oh, that wasn't how you're supposed to do things, or you should be doing this instead. Why aren't you talking about this? Why aren't you doing that? How do you deal with those type of comments?
Honestly, I just have to like take it to the chin. I feel like that's just the only way that you can go about it. If you start putting your opinions and bringing your problems to social media, you're just opening a whole other world of allowing people in and to judge you off of that. So I think when it comes to like talking about certain topics or just getting hate, it's like, okay, but would you say that to my face?
Yeah.
You're hiding behind a screen. That's what I have to remind myself.
Yeah.
And granted, when I had Zaza in the beginning, I would get so much stuff of like, oh, you shouldn't be doing that as a mom. And I feel like those would hit me a lot more personally, because it's like, I'm literally trying my best. I'm really just trying to get through here. Yeah. And I know that he's happy. So that's what I would have to remind myself. And that's why I even say that in my mom series. I'm like, do what works for you, what gives you peace of mind, what makes your kids happy. Because you can't please everybody.
You can't.
And you can't win. Not on social media, you can't.
Yeah.
You really can't. Yeah. You're always gonna have that one person, and it's gonna be your biggest hater. And it's either you let that motivate you and keep going. It's like, okay, well, thanks for the view.
Yeah.
Thanks for the comment. You took the time out of your day to write something under my post.
Yeah.
That's just what you have to think about. Like, somebody really took the time. You could have kept scrolling.
Yeah.
It bothered you that much? Be for real. No.
I think you're one of the toughest people I know in that sense as well. Like, you do take a lot of stuff because you have a lot more eyes on you than a lot of other people, and you've handled it all really, really, really well. But I will also say you have a partner who handles a lot as well, and he's stopped me from a couple fires.
If it wasn't for him, I wouldn't have been that way. Trust me, there's been times I want to reply. Yeah. I want to give a reaction. It's just not worth it. And that's what you have to remember. It's like, okay, I'm doing this in the heat of a moment, but this is gonna cause more problems. Right. And it's not even worth it. I could have just ignored it. Just like they could have ignored my post, I could have ignored their comment.
That's true. Social media, we're already on the topic of it. There's a lot of good things in social media too. No,
of course.
You've met a great amount of people.
I have.
Are you excited to now have well, I guess this is a question before I get to that question.
Okay.
Do you want a big or small wedding?
I'm honestly okay with either. I know Larry wants a big wedding, but Larry also has a lot of family.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's our family because they've taken me in, but no, we got a lot of family from both sides. So I'm good with whatever.
Yeah. And then how many, I don't know if we can talk about it. I'll cut this out if it can't go in. Okay. But how many bridesmaids are you going to have roughly?
So I know I'm supposed to match his. That's what's scary.
Yeah.
I think I have it written down in my notes, actually. Hold on. Let me,
yeah. You're going to drop some names?
I don't know if I'll drop names.
Oh, okay. Numbers.
I'll just give a number.
Okay, cool.
I'll just give a number. I don't want to, because I obviously don't know.
Yeah.
So right now I have obviously one maid of honor, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I think 9 bridesmaids.
Oh my goodness.
Possibly, if I'm matching up with his.
You're gonna have a big wedding.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
If I'm taking all that, but if not, like, I obviously know.
Yeah.
I can cut.
So, okay, since we're already on the topic about weddings, where would be your dream wedding? Because you already got your dream proposal in your dream location.
Yeah, I mean, I can't complain. I know that we've talked about, like,
just in case somebody's watching this podcast.
Just in case. Hint. No, I'm just kidding. No, I know we've talked about possibly a destination wedding, which we haven't discussed places yet. So, I mean, it's a possibility, but we also know that with destination weddings comes people not coming. So it's kind of hit or miss. I know we're probably not going to do it in Arizona. If anything, probably Cali, because that's where a lot of the family's at. But it just depends really on what we want to do too.
Gotcha.
We haven't really gotten that far. I'm not going to lie. We're like, okay, we got here.
Now we're on the baby.
Yeah. Now it's baby and baby shower, and then we'll talk about that.
Well, I'm about to ask you a really, really tough question. So if it gives you if you need some time to think about it, feel free to
go ahead.
Take some time to think about it. But what would you tell the little girl, Sachi? Right? Knowing what you know now as an adult and all the experiences that you've had in your life now, if you had a time machine and you were able to go back in time and see the little version of yourself, what's some advice or some things that you would...
That's a crazy question, Joel.
Yeah. We're getting real here. We're getting unscripted.
Yeah, we are. What would I would tell my younger self? I feel like that'd be such a long conversation just because there's so many things in life I would talk to her about.
Well, good thing this is a podcast and people want to hear those things. If you could condense it down.
No, yeah, I'll definitely condense it down. I think I would say when it comes to just life in general, to obviously not give up, to always try your hardest, because at the end of the day, you're going to really only have yourself to rely on, even though there are people in your life that will either be lessons, blessings, or sometimes both. But at the end of the day, you will always have you. I think that's just a big part of it, because when you start to depend on other people, things can go left. So I think just being a woman and then being independent is really big. But as far as love goes, I would tell her I know that it gets hard sometimes, and I know you're going to get your heart broken, but not to lose sight of how big your heart is, because at the end of the day, it will pay off. And no matter how much this world will try and make you get cold or numb, that you can't let that win, because that's not what you're meant to do. Yeah. Wow. I think just also a big part is no matter what people throw at you, they will try and get that reaction out of you, but you can't let them, because at the end of the day, they're doing stuff because they're dealing with their own stuff. It's not personal towards you. Yeah. I think that's a big thing to remember too, because it's really easy to react.
Yeah.
So slow to anger. Yeah, slow to anger, and to try and forgive, because time isn't promised.
Wow. It's almost like you thought about this question.
I mean, I feel like a part of me has thought about this more so when I have a daughter. And when that time comes, obviously I love my boys and I know I'm going to have these conversations with them. But when it's a girl, there's so many more emotions. There's so many things that girls just go through, that it'll be a little more personal to me from that younger girl standpoint of just wanting my daughter to know that she has open communication and having an outlet and somebody to talk to, and that she would always have her parents, because I know Larry and I will give that to her. We just don't want that, like, we have super strict parents and then now you're hiding and you're lying and then you're putting yourself in situations that you don't need to be putting yourself into.
Wow. Very insightful. That was clap it up.
Thank you.
I have a theory about something, and I kind of thought of it as you were saying those things. And tell me if I'm going somewhere with it, and if I'm not, just be like, hey, that was dumb.
Okay. I got you.
But I feel like when a lot of girls on social media have a kid, that kind of becomes their whole personality. And I don't think that's fair, because I feel like a lot of people start to see them as only, a mother or a mom, which is not a bad thing. It's a great thing, like being a mom. But is it, and I want to make sure I ask this the right way, is it hard to try to still show that it sounds bad, like saying you're more than just a mom, because obviously being a mom is like one of the highest callings in life.
No, I feel like that's still a valid question. Because I think I know how to answer it.
Okay, well, please answer that for me. I think you know where I'm going.
I do. I think what you're trying to say is more so like you're more of still like your own person outside of being a mom. And I think in all reality, I'm not gonna lie, I've had my days where I'm like, I do think being a mom is my identity, just because you're so focused 100% on this little person that it's like, dang, like, what do I enjoy doing for myself at a certain point? But one thing that Larry always tells me too, he's like, this is just temporary. And I read a lot of stuff with other moms that have gone through that same thing. It's kind of just like an identity thing, like, kind of what we talked about before as far as like your life changes. Yeah, your life changes, but now it's just you adapting to this new version of you. And it's not as easy said as it is done. So I think just day by day. That's all I can say is day by day, because it is so mental.
Yeah.
But when it comes down to it, it's just like, that you're still you.
Yeah.
But it's just like, I read this post. I'm gonna sidetrack really quick. I read this post and it was basically saying like, I'm okay with my identity being a mom, because in a couple of years, my kid won't be needing me anymore. Oh. My kid won't be relying on me anymore. Like, I can only be there whenever they want me to be, not because they need me to be. And I think that like really resonated within me and made me like, okay, well, me trying to figure out who I am right now is, one, temporary, but two, kind of selfish, because I should just be my best version of myself for my kid, because that's what my kid is going to be seeing. So I think that's just all I care about right now. And yes, of course, there's moms that can still like get everything done. And I love that for them. But me personally, like, I used to go to the gym all the time. I plan on getting back to the gym, but in my own time. Like, I can't force it to happen, because then you just start stressing yourself and overwhelming yourself out more of like, well, I wanted to get this done, or I should have done this. And although I shoulda, woulda, couldas just eat you alive. Yeah. And there's no point in that. Wow.
You answered that really, really well. You made me sound like I knew what I was talking about. Thank you for doing that.
You're welcome.
There was something that you said in there that kind of caught my attention, and it started making me reflect, and it almost threw me off, and I started getting a little emotional in my head, where you said, you were talking about the post. You were saying how at some point, can you say it again?
It was basically saying like at some point, like, it's okay that being a mom is your identity right now, because at some point your kid isn't gonna need you anymore.
There we go. That's what I needed. At some point, your kid isn't going to need you. I'm a son, and I have a mom. And I think that's one thing that me and her, and if she's watching this, I'm sorry, Mom. I do love her very much. But at some point, I had to grow out on my own, and I had to show that I am my own person, and I am an adult. How much of that have you prepared for? Because obviously, you know, you had to step out on your own at some point. Yes. And we won't get into it because I know some things are left off camera. But are you ready for that day where Zaza leaves the nest?
Can I be honest? I feel like, you know, that saying that like, oh, you won't know until you're a parent is so true. Like, Larry and I have had these conversations as far as like, oh my gosh, when I was a teenager, I was so dumb. I can't believe I put my parents through that. Like, that's crazy that I did that. Like, I now understand as a mom, because if my kid were to do that, like, that's how we have to look at things now. Yeah. But I think now as a mom, you're not ever ready for that. I mean, because it's true. Like, even though you have a mom and you're a son, and I am a daughter to my mom will always tell me, like, I'm forever her baby, no matter how old I get. And I know moms say that all the time. Yeah. But it's true. Like, no matter how old he gets, they're both going to be my babies. Yeah. And you see it even like, I'll be on TikTok and I'll be crying on TikTok. Let me tell you. Yeah. But it comes down to like their son's wedding day, their daughter's wedding day. And you just see them looking at their little girl getting married or their little boy growing up and starting a new life for themselves. And I think that's just so true. Like, you watched your kid grow up. Yeah. That's a part of you. Yeah. I think that's the thing that people forget about. Like, you grew inside your mom. You're literally a part of her. Yeah.
Damn. You just got me. Yeah, you just got me over here thinking. I think it's so weird because now seeing like all my friends become parents, it's like making me not only like, oh, how am I going to be a parent? But now it's like, oh, is that what my parents thought when they, you know, around that age? Like,
it does make you reflect for sure. But I think also just like knowing your place, like I'm Larry's fiance now. I'm going to be his wife one day. But I also know my place in some senses that like there are some things that only his mom could do. And I'm very aware of that. Like there's roles, like not that he would ever put me, because he already knows, like in the Bible it says you put your wife first. And his mom's even preached that to him. But that little boy is still inside him. Mm-hmm. And there's only some things that mom could do, or a home cooked meal that mom can make. Like, I'm not overstepping on any of those. Like, and I love his mom's cooking. So I'll be like, yes, let's go, let's eat. But it's just knowing that, like, when you have that relationship with your mom, and I obviously would hope that my boys love me that much, that it's just that like, oh, I know I have my girl, but let me just see what my mom says. Or like, you know, he'll get my input and then he's like, well, let me just double check with my mom too. And I'm like, go ahead, because she has more wisdom than I do too. So maybe I need to hear something also. Yeah.
And she does make some fire food.
Yes, she does. Real good.
She makes some real good food.
She's that gallo pinto be hitting that Nicaraguan food, man.
There's like a little joke that I don't think people know.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
So obviously I lived with them, but there was one day I came over, it was like after the gym or something, and I was starving. And okay,
I remember that. It was at the old house.
Yes, I've gotten a little now that I have adult friends who have their own homes, usually like they'll say like, oh, and they're the same way too, like my house is your house, like get whatever you need. I kind of took that a little too far.
Too literal?
A little too literal. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. Like, and I was really, really hungry. And Larry's mom makes really good food. And I was starving. She's like, oh, do you want a plate? And I said, oh, sure. I had the plate.
And then he had another one.
And then I had another one.
And then another one.
And another one. And then Larry needed a plate. And there was no more left. But I thought that was it. I thought everybody already ate. I was like, well, I don't want there to be any leftovers.
And what's funny is that she cooked for Larry. Larry asked for that meal to be made. I remember he was like, ain't no way Joel just ate my food. I was like, get your friend.
Well, hopefully I made up for it by now. But let's make things a little bit lighter. I feel like we've gotten kind of heavy.
All right.
The Puerto Rican side.
Yes.
How much of that do you think is in Zaza?
Personality-wise?
Yeah.
Or just in general?
If you had to quantify, or if you had to quantify, like, how much of Zaza is you and how much of Zaza is Larry?
I'm not gonna lie, I really do think he's a perfect mix of us. Just like personality-wise, facial expression-wise. Like, there's days where I'll be like, I think he does look more like Larry. My opinion, more so now. I think he just has my eyes, but he'll make faces, and I've seen pictures of myself as a baby that I'm like, okay, yeah, that's me. Or his attitude, yeah, his attitude's me. I'm not gonna lie, that's me. But like the way he messes with Larry and stuff, or just like some funny things that he does, I'm like, that's your dad. Yeah. I'm like, that's so your dad. But I just can't wait to see, like, once he starts talking and everything, like, because his personality is just going to keep on developing into his own. I'm like, I don't know who he's going to be more like, but I look forward to it.
Well, Miss Sachi, I think our time is coming to an end. I want to say congratulations again on getting engaged, and thank you for letting me hijack your vacation to Mykonos.
Of course.
And also letting me film 3 podcast episodes with Larry that we only get to see one.
I can't believe that happened.
Yeah, and it still kills me. I do think that first podcast was the best one.
I also think so too. Yeah. I feel like that one was just really good as far as questions and like in depth and everything too.
Yeah, and everything was just so natural. The next question led into the next, and
yeah, you remember I even said, I was like, I'm surprised that's your first like take.
Yeah,
maybe I jinxed it.
Yeah, I know. But then I think the third one is good too. I think it was better than that second one. The second one we had no energy. We were done.
Just cooked.
I think we only did like 15 minutes, but but I'm happy that both of you have now given me the privilege of being the first person to interview you guys in a podcast and bringing me into your guys' home. I feel like being with you guys I was able to elevate myself on many different aspects in my life, from physical. Me and him were dieting, we're eating good.
Oh, that's right. You guys were
not anymore, but he still is. I'm struggling.
It's hard, man.
And then like mentally, spiritually, and also, I mean, social media too. I don't want to make that about everything, but just being in your guys' home has allowed me to flourish as a human. And I feel like I was kind of the baby before Zaza.
He was our kid before we had him.
Yeah. But now you guys have had an adult in your house, so maybe when he's about 18 to 21, it'll be like, oh, I remember when Joel used to do this.
No, for real.
But yeah.
But, we want to see everybody win, so.
Well, thank you so much for allowing me to be a part of your guys' life and allowing me to be in so many different moments in your guys' life. And it's going to be so cool when I'm able to flip the script and be like, hey guys, I'm having my first child. Or
like, what?
Yeah. And then you get to come over and eat my food.
Yeah. I might just do that.
Well, thank you again. I don't know if there's anything that you want to plug. I know you kind of plugged your new series that's coming out. Can we see... Okay, sorry. Before we get to the outro, I'm going to tell you, not only as your editor,
okay,
I'm going to tell you we need more LNS content.
Yes, we're working on that.
We have a lot of Laro Benz content.
I know.
It's awesome. I love it. It's great. But I do think people want to see more behind the scenes, a little bit more family style content. So
definitely trying to do that more so with his birthday coming up, like behind his photo shoot and everything. So yes, it's coming.
Yeah.
But it's just time.
Yeah. And I know you're pregnant again, so
yeah, sorry y'all. I've been a little drained.
But I'm just speaking for the audience because we just love having you a part of our lives, and we just all want more.
Trust me, I want to give it. I want to so bad.
But yeah, please go follow her on all her platforms. I'm sure if you're watching this, you're already following her. But in case you're not.
At Sachi.
Yes. Well, thank you so much again for doing this podcast.
Of course. Thank you for having me.
I hope you enjoyed it.
I did. Thank you.